Okay, good morning, guys. So in last class, we discussed about cucumber tax. Okay, what is the concept of tax? Simply one line statement. August batch only. What is the concept of tax? We discussed in the online people also. The summary of the information, what is meant by tax? What is the concept of tax? See, guys, you are not preparing. You are just doing labs. Okay, you have to express what is the topic that you are doing. Tax means to execute specific group of scenarios. We can use tax. Correct or not? To execute specific group of scenarios, we can use tax. The scenario name we are specifying @ name, group name we are specifying. @ regression, @ customer. And in the tax section in the test_runner.java class file, @ cucumber options, there you are specifying tax, which of the group of scenarios that you want to execute. Okay. So what is the concept of tax? Means to execute specific group of scenarios. If you don't mention tax is equal to within double quotations, that means all the scenarios will be executed. Okay, right. So now today's topic, we are going to discuss about cucumber hooks. Okay, so let's discuss about that hook concept. Hooks cucumber project. This is the project I am going to import. Hooks_cucumber. Clicking on finish. See, this is the hooks_cucumber Maven project got imported. So it's downloading, importing Maven projects. All the supporting libraries also downloading. So now my JRE version is 1.7. I am changing it to 1.8. See, this is a feature file. This is a feature file. Okay. And I'm ready with my test_runner.java class file. So if I will execute my test_runner.java class file, okay, so these feature files can be executed because in my JUnit platform.properties file, I specified my feature file path, whichever feature file that I want to execute. Okay, so if there is any unimplemented steps, the system it will generate unimplemented steps. After executing my test_runner3.java class file, see, I'm running my test_runner3.java class file, run as JUnit test. So my feature file steps got executed. Okay, here we are able to see this is the first step. This is the second step. This is the third step. So these are the feature files corresponding methods already implemented under step definitions.java file. Okay, one second. So what is my step definition.java file name? Selenium glue code 1. So under Selenium glue code 1, under step definition.java file, okay. So for every step, this is the first step, this is the second step. So for every step, corresponding method already implemented. Okay, for every keyword, for every step, corresponding method already implemented. That's why this is the first step. So whenever that first keyword is executing, so whenever this step got executing, this is the method executed, and this is the first step. This is got printed. And whenever the second line got executed, second line is printing. So whenever third line is executing, this is the third step. So this is the third step. So corresponding method is implementing from step definition.java class file. This concept we are already in. But if you will observe, prior to this scenario, prior to execution of these steps, this will run before the scenario. This is executing. This line is printing. See here in my step definition.java class file, there is a hooks.java class file is available. I'm clicking here. So there is @ before and @ after. Okay. So prior to every scenario, this is the line it is printing. See here, this will run before the scenario. So after executing those 3 steps, so this is the third step, and this will run after the scenario. So that means this line is executed after the scenario. Okay. Similarly, prior to execution of this scenario, okay. So this is the first step. See again, it's hello world scenario. Next, hello. 1 second. Hello universe. So hi universe and hello world. So hello world scenario, when it is executing, this will run before the scenario. And again, first step, second step, and third step, this will run after the scenario. So that means we can define hooks concept means prior to every scenario, some common snippet of code it is executing. Prior to every scenario, some common snippet of executing globally before and after. Okay, so that concept we can call it as a hooks. Hooks means it's a common snippet of code. It's a common code which can be executed globally for every scenario before and after. Okay, so this concept we can call it as a hooks concept. Okay, so now let's see when to use this concept in real time. Okay, now let's go and see this point. The best website for Cucumber is this is the one. Cucumber Tools QA. So this is the best website for reference. So I'm clicking here. See, starting a web driver. Okay, to launch a web driver. Such code you can write because so anyway we are writing in background key section. Instead of writing background key, you can launch of the browser. Such thing we can write it in the before @ before annotation tag. So that launching of browser is a common functionality. We can setting up database connections. Suppose there is a Oracle database, there is a MySQL database. You want to retrieve some data, or you want to connect with some database. Such things people will use database connections. Anyway, we are not teaching about database connections. And setting up test data, getting the test data from an Excel. Setting up browser cookies. Browser cookies means suppose whenever you are entering username and password, such information we can store it on client side, browser side. Navigate to certain page. After launching a browser, immediately you want to navigate to some page. Such code also we can keep it in the Cucumber, in the hooks concept, or anything before the test. So before the scenario, if you want to perform any kind of these things, such thing we can write it in the @ before section. Okay, and @ after, killing the web driver. So once after executing all your steps, you want to close the browser. So you can write driver.close setup driver instruction in the @ after. And closing the database connection. So setting the database connection and closing the database connection. Clearing the test data, clearing the browser cookies. That means whatever cookies that you are deleting your history. And once you perform some actions, suppose if it is a bank applications, so after performing every scenario, you want to clear the browser history. So we have to write driver.manage.delete all cookies. There is a method. Driver.manage.delete all cookies, so that all cookies and history information can be deleted. Logging out from the application. So generally, after performing some set of steps, you will do logout, such things. So at the rate after scenario, okay. So printing the reports. So whether your test is passed or failed, so that some log statements if you want to print, or you want to generate a reporting part, such a common mandatory code if you want to execute, you can write it. Taking screenshots on errors, okay. So whether your scenario passed or failed, you want to take snapshot of the code. So there's such code or anything after the test. So once your set of steps are executed, anything that you want to execute, closing the browser, deleting the cookies, such things we can use hooks concept. Okay, so these all steps are already we had implemented under step definitions.java. Got the point? So before executing corresponding code, before executing these steps, okay, the code is executing from hooks.java class file. So at the rate before annotation tag is executing, and after executing your set of steps, at the rate after annotation tag is executing. Okay. So simply we can say hooks definition. If anybody will ask, what is mean by hooks? Hooks contains some common code, common snippet of code, which can be globally executed before and after the scenario. Is everyone clear? It's a common snippet of code globally executed. Globally means prior to, after executing the scenario. Okay, prior to the scenario and after, globally executed before and after the scenario. Got the point, everyone? So this is known as hooks concept. Now let's see the next concept as tagged hooks. Okay, let's see about tagged hooks. So this we can call it a hook. So this is called general hooks concept. So the hooks is, so this is a one hook and this is a one hook. So prior to every scenario, those steps are executing. Okay. So tagged hooks means, so you will write some, okay, let me show you that part once. See here, this is your steps. At the rate first, at the rate second, and at the rate third. Total, how many scenarios are there? 3 scenarios are there. Okay, let me go to the next point. I'm going back to sample2.feature file. The first scenario is belongs to which group? Group name is first. And the second scenario, the group name belongs to second. And the third scenario, the group name belongs to third group. Okay. So prior to execution of at the rate first, only for at the rate first I'm talking. Okay. Prior to executing of at the rate first, I want to execute some snippet of code. So if I will write, if I will go for hooks.java, these code, it can be executed for every scenario. So it can be, suppose if I will go to JUnit platform properties file. So I'm changing it to sample2.feature file. I'm saving and I'm coming back to test_3.java class file. What will happen if I will execute this one? So prior to these steps, this will run before scenario, this will run after scenario. It can be executed for all the 3 scenarios. Okay, that we already know. But prior to at the rate first, I want to execute some snippet of code only for at the rate first group only. Okay, so in such case, how you need to write your hooks concept means, see, I'm keeping at the rate before. This is the line of code I'm copying, and I'm going back to my hooks.java class file, and I'm pasting here. So only for at the rate first scenario, I want to execute this line. Okay, prior to execution of at the rate first scenario, I want to execute this line. Anyway, this line will be executed. And after that, this is the line I want to execute only for at the rate first scenarios. Got the point? Okay. Now let's come back to at the rate first line. And I'm saving here. And I'm saving here. So what is the meaning of this line? What do you understood? So wherever at the rate first scenario group is there, for that scenario, it will be executed. Let's run this one and we will analyze the code. Okay. So I'm going back and I'm saving my test103.java class file run as JUnit test. So this time I'm going to execute sample2.feature file. Okay. So I'll right click run as JUnit test. Okay. Now let's see the part how the hooks tags are executing. Okay. This will run before the scenario. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay, this will run before the scenario. Okay, where is that? Coming back to my hooks.java class file. So this is got executed. Okay, this is got executed. And after that, this will run only before the first scenario. Okay, let's see this part. See, this is at the rate third. At the rate third, how it is got executed, it is showing. And let me show you. So at the rate third, not this one. Second. First, second, third, 1 second. Okay, I will do one. I will go to here. Okay. First, second, and third. This will run before the. So this is third scenario. So first, second, first, and third. So this is got executed. Control F, Control V. Going back to my hooks.java class file. Let me copy this line. Control C, Control F, Control V. See, for at the rate first scenario, so this is the first scenario. This is got executed. And after that, immediately what line got executed? From hooks, this will run only before the first scenario. So this is got executed. And after that, okay, 1 second. What I will do is, I will go to tags concept so that you will understand. Where is the tags? Okay. So what is the meaning this one? What is the meaning of this line? I want to execute all the scenarios, or I want to execute which of the group of scenarios? I want to execute the group name, whichever belongs to first group. Okay, let's run this time. So it's easy to understand. No, I'm executing some different project. Hooks concept, right? 1 second. Okay. Right. Now we executed only at the rate first scenario only. And see here, this will run only before first scenario. And this will run only after the scenario. Got the point? And anyway, common hook also it is executing. So this will run before the scenario and this will run after the scenario. Okay, whenever you are writing in hooks.java class file, so for a particular scenario, if you want to write, okay, so this is called tagged hook. This is called tagged hook. So only this will be executed before and after for the tagged hook. Okay, for the @ first annotation tag one. Got the point? And this is called global hook. Global hook. Global means it can be applicable for all the scenarios. This is executed commonly for every scenario before the steps. See here, before the steps, this will run before the scenario. So it is executed before the steps, and this will run after the scenario. So global hook is executing for before the steps only. But whenever you are writing @ first, so it will execute for @ smoke test. So this is called tagged hook. Tagged hook means only for that particular tag only the hooks.java class file is executing. So this is the code it is executing only for before and after. Got the point? If I will write, suppose, if I will remove this one, okay, if I will remove this one, means this time all my feature files can be, all the scenarios can be executed. So does this code will execute for before and after? For all other scenarios, does this code can be executed or not? It will be executed or not? You are not getting my point. Here I have written @ first. Here I have written @ first. What is the meaning of @ first? Only these lines of code executed. Okay, it will be executed for this scenario only. Okay, suppose if I want to execute for second, what I need to do here? So here I need to write @ second. So this snippet of code, it can be executed for only for @ second only. It won't execute for first and third. So that's why we are calling it as a tagged hook. Okay, so how we can define tagged hook in the interviews? Okay, the scenario belongs to particular tag name, and if you want to execute some common snippet of code for particular group name, then in your hook step definition.java class file @ before, within the double quotations you have to specify the tag name, so that code will execute globally first for that particular, and after that global tag can be executed, and after that set of steps can be executed. Got the point? What is mean by tagged hook means? Okay, so for that particular tag only, that piece of code executed globally. Okay, so that is called tagged hook. Suppose if I will write, okay, @ first I have written. Okay, global. Okay, tell me one more point. If I am writing like this, before second, this will run before the second scenario, and I am taking this line, Control-C. Okay, I have written two more annotation tags. What is this meaning of this line of code? Before executing @ second scenario, okay, before executing at the rate second scenario, which is the hook tag can be executed. First, this will be executed. This will run before the second scenario, and after that, your global tag can be executed. This will run before the scenario, and this can be executed. And after that, the set of steps can be executed. So these steps can be executed. Corresponding line of code can be executed. After that, okay. So at the rate before global tag is executing, and finally at the rate after scenario. So this is got executed. Got the point, everyone? So that means tagged hook. So it will be executed with respect to one particular tag only. Okay. So here this snippet of code can be executed for at the rate second scenarios only. Okay. A common snippet of code. Okay. A snippet of code, it is only executing particular tags only. That is called tagged hooks. Got the point? Right. So similarly, I want to execute it for third. Before the third, I want to execute. Before the third, I want to execute this one. And after the third, I want to execute this one. So if I'm saving this one, I'm running test103.java class file. One second, something went wrong. Where is my sample2.directory? Okay. Initialization error. Okay, let me delete this slide. Okay, I'm deleting this one. Unit platform properties file sample2.pk file. And this one, sample2. Okay. So here I have to specify tag name if I'm specifying this one. So let me run this. Okay. So I need to copy before second and third. Before second and after second. And after that, before third and after third. So I'm saving this one. So let's run my test103.java. Run as save. Okay, so like that, the execution can be happened like that. So if you'll see, this will run after the first scenario. So this will, okay, one second. Here analyzing the things, it's not generating it's not, this is the second scenario. And this will run before the scenario. This will run only before the second scenario. This is the first. So if you want to observe, because here the console output, it's not properly generating, but if you want to check the execution order, okay, just you can specify include tags is equal to that particular tag. So that the execution order, it will follows like that for every scenario. Understood, everyone? So like that, the tagged hooks, it will work. So now the next concept is common tagged hooks. Common tagged hooks for multiple scenarios. Okay, now let's see. And I'm writing this one, copying this one, and I'm going back to my hooks.java class file. I'm specifying. So this is called common tagged hook. This is called common tagged hooks for multiple scenarios. So at the rate first and at the rate third. So before executing at the rate first and third, so this will be executed first. Okay. So now let's see. I want to keep. Let me go back to sample2.feature file and test103.java file. So here I'm specifying not this. At the okay, I'm not specifying any. Okay, and I'm saving. Right. Now, what is the common tagged Java? So for at the rate first and at the rate third, this is the common tagged hook. Okay. So now let's copy this line up. Control C. And I'm coming back to here. Control F, Control V. At the rate first. Why this is not going to generate? Okay, 1 second. Huh? Control F, Control V. Right. See, here it is got generated. This will run only before the third scenario. But this line I'm looking for. This will run before both first and third scenario. This is the line I'm looking for. Okay, okay. One second. So this will run before every scenario. Global tag is executing. And after that, this is the line it has to execute. Okay, this will run before every scenario. This will run. Why it is not executed? Okay, let me rerun it. Okay, 1 second. First and third, I specified. So this will run before first and third scenario. So this line, right, is not in. Control C. This is the scenario. This will run before. Let's go back to my start Java class file. Okay, let me comment this third one. So before scenario, this is a global hook. This is a tagged hook. Okay, this is a tagged hook, and this is a common tag. Okay, before and after also I need to write. Okay, now let's run my test. Why this is not reflecting? This is customer 3.java cluster sample 2.feature file. JUnit platform sample 2.feature file. Okay, so this will run before the scenario, and this is the first step, and this is the second step, this is the third step. This will run after the scenario. This is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step. This will run before the second scenario. Okay, this will run for the second scenario. One second. I think in JUnit 5, okay, in JUnit 5 might be because in the older version of JUnit 4, this common tagged hooks concept is there. Okay, but in JUnit 5, if you are writing multiple group names, it's not. One second, something has been changed. Okay, let me write it like this. The syntax part might be changed. Let's no, not this one.